In the top stories, online crime warning as businessman narrowly avoids losing tens of thousands. The Paralympic movement loses its main voice. And Darren Sammy says the West Indies aim to make history at the World T20. Welcome to Nation News for Thursday, April the 2nd, 2014.
At Courts, every day we bring affordability, convenience, innovation, and style to over 1 million customers in 11 countries. From homes to communities, we are proud to make a difference in the lives of many across the region. Courts, bringing value home.
Online crime is costing companies around the world billions of dollars. We have no idea of the figures for Barbados, but we are not immune from this clear and present threat. Take the case of CEO of Caribbean LED Lighting, Jim Reed, who told Nation News he was almost conned out of more than $150,000 by sophisticated cybercriminals. Mr. Reed said it was frightening that hackers got access to the company's suppliers, customers, and bank information, and even replied to emails on his behalf. He said the vigilance of his bank prevented the funds from being wired to an account in Beijing. Mr. Reed said he was in the process of implementing new security procedures while local and international law enforcement authorities investigate the matter. He is urging companies to pay attention to their online security. The Minister of the Environment has confirmed that the Fair Trading Commission has begun an investigation of last month's steep hike in the price of sand by the monopoly provider. Dr. Dennis Lowe was speaking at a Builders Forum sponsored by Rayside Construction, whose Director of Operations raised the question of a probe into the increase.
Who has responsibility for the Trading Commission is currently aggressively pursuing a review of that matter. We do understand, of course, that the escalation in costs of sand will inevitably have an impact on end products of builders, and it would not be unreasonable if builders have to increase their costs because of the cost of sand.
The Allen School, the first co-ed secondary school in Barbados, is in need of urgent repairs, its new principal says. Julia Beckles, in her maiden speech day address as school head, cited the poor state of the school hall, exposed steel at the campus, termite infestation, and Allen's loss of its designation as a Category 1 hurricane shelter. Minister of Education Ronald Jones was on hand to hear the principal's appeal for help. In his address, the minister said the time had come for outstanding achievers in sport to be rewarded in a similar way to those who excel academically. Another school holding a speech day was the Leicester Vaughan, which reported some improvement in academic performance in 2013 after a dismal 2012 when the school recorded its worst ever returns in CXC exams. Acting Principal Sonja Goodrich said more had to be done to reach standards set earlier. She commended students who gave notable performances during the academic year. Students added to the honor roll were Akila Britton, Shondell Wharton, Casey Taylor, Elsie Mofford, and Candace Badu. More than $800,000 in scholarships, book prizes, and special awards were handed out when the Capel campus of the UWI held its annual Student Awards ceremony. The major sponsors include the Central Bank, First Caribbean International Bank, and Seoul Caribbean. Capel Principal Sir Hilary Beckles said no university could prosper without the generosity of its stakeholders, whether government or the private sector. For Barbadian students, the awards took on added significance because of the government's decision to impose tuition fees on UE students. The Paralympic community in Barbados is mourning the loss of its chief advocate, Wesley Worrell. Mr. Worrell died at the Bayview Hospital where he had been admitted to have a leg amputated, according to a relative. He became the face of the Paralympic movement in Barbados as its president and was keen to see more local disabled athletes participate on the world stage. Mr. Worrell was confined to a wheelchair after he was shot in April 1994 during an attempted robbery. But his spirit never appeared to wane, and he became a regular competitor in road races here and abroad. Caribbean news now. Concerns are being expressed in the United States about the safety of the booming cosmetic surgery business in the Dominican Republic. It is enough of an issue that the American State Department has posted a warning on its page for travel to the Dominican Republic, noting that in several cases, U.S. citizens have suffered serious complications or died. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control also issued an alert last month. That was after health authorities reported that at least 19 women in 5 states had developed serious mycobacterial wound infections over the previous 12 months following cosmetic procedures in the Dominican Republic, such as liposuction, tummy tucks, and breast implants. 2 visitors to St. Lucia are reported to be in police custody after a local taxi driver claimed he had been stabbed by a tourist. The driver is said to be in serious condition in hospital. A media report suggests that the driver was transporting the 2 visitors when the alleged incident occurred, though details remain sketchy. In sport, India is providing Jamaica with a grant to install lights at Sabina Park, the international cricket venue. The project is expected to last 3 months and, if completed on time, will allow Jamaica to host night matches for the second Caribbean Premier League, which starts in June. Jamaica was the only inaugural host venue without floodlights. No team has successfully defended the World T20 title before, but West Indies captain Darren Sammy is confident his side can become the first to do so. They can make a giant step toward that goal on Thursday, which can be regarded as one of the biggest days in the recent history of West Indies cricket. That's when the men's and women's teams play their semi-final matches at the World T20 in Bangladesh. The men will meet Sri Lanka in a repeat of the 2012 final, a match Sammy says will likely be on the minds of the Sri Lankans, who, as the hosts then, were expected to win.
Cricket is not about what's happened before, it's what happens on the cricket field on the present day. So, yeah, we defeated them in the World Cup and in the practice game here, the warm-up game. But, you know, they've played some good cricket. And we have a lot of respect for them. But in the same time, we know what we have to do to win. And we practicing today, we're going to focus on the way we want to play tomorrow. And hopefully we could execute our plans.
So much for the men. The West Indies women will take on Australia, who beat them at the same stage 2 years ago. And finally, a township in Pennsylvania in the United States has adopted a policy limiting how much change its agencies will accept from residents. David Steadett, executive director of the authorities, has said that officials came up with the policy after a woman showed up last month with a shoebox full of nickels, dimes, and quarters to pay a $200 sewer bill. Mr. Steadett says it took 4 employees an hour to count, sort, and put the money into paper sleeves. The new policy limits residents to using $10 in loose coins. That's it for Nation News.